5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Diary of a Kidney Warrior podcast in partnership with Kidney Care UK, sharing faith, knowledge, hope, and love.
Hi, and welcome to Diary of a Kidney Warrior podcast, or should I say, Happy Christmas! Today, I am sharing a bonus episode of the podcast, which is entitled A Very Kidney Warrior Christmas, Heartfelt Messages of Hope, Encouragement, and Gratitude. And not only is this a special Christmas episode, because I'm sharing the podcast today on Christmas Day for the very first time. This is the first time I'm releasing an episode like this on Christmas Day. But today I'm joined by a former guest, a friend of the podcast, Mo from episode 144. Hi, welcome, Mo.
Hey, it's good to be back. Good to be back on this Christmas episode.
It's good to see you. It really is. I really enjoyed our episode together. And listeners, and the people watching today, if you haven't yet seen the episode, I really do recommend you listen to Mo's story. Very, very inspirational. A very top guy. And Mo kindly agreed to join me today to read the messages that were sent in by not only the listeners of the podcast, but also past guests and also Kidney Care UK staff. Now, these are messages of hope, encouragement, and gratitude, because today, on this special day, we really want to encourage people and we really want to share these messages with you today. So I'm going to start with our first message. And the first message was sent in by Karen. And Karen says, "Sandwiches are okay for Christmas. It's the love that matters." I really do get what she means by that, because sometimes we can get so bogged down with the having to, roast a turkey and all the trimmings and all this pressure on ourselves to do this big, elaborate meal. But the most important thing is that we're around our loved ones, our friends, our family. That's who makes it the day special more than the elaborate meal. Would you agree?
Yeah, I agree. I think the holiday times is definitely filled with a lot of the festivity pressure. And so we can get wrapped up in all of the, I need to do this, I need to do that. And really the most simplistic thing is just to sit around and be with your family members. It may not be the most top tier thing, but as long as you're there being present, I think that's all that matters.
Yeah, I mean, as she said, sandwiches are okay.
Yeah, I'd go for a sandwich.
Could be a turkey sandwich, if you
Reuben.
want to.
Reubens are good.
That must be an American thing, because what's Reuben? You have to explain. Sorry.
All right, I'll send you the ingredients and you can finesse it yourself over that side.
Okay, brilliant. So learning. I hope they're kidney friendly, she says. So I will give it a go. So yes. What's our next message, Mo?
All right. Our next message comes from listener Nick, and he says, "Being on dialysis is hard, a challenge often unseen and underappreciated. When the days are dark, shine a light of kindness on yourself. Meditate, do something that'll make you happy, however small, maybe exercise, whatever you can do. But most of all, keep on keeping on, brighter skies will come." Just even reflecting on this, I reflect to the day when I first got diagnosed. I thought it was the end. I thought this
Me
was the start of our doomsday. But really, what I've come to realize, CKD is not the ending. It's the next chapter to come. It may be navigating it differently, but do what you can. Still enjoy life. Go outside, feel the sunshine. Do whatever you can to make yourself happy and keep on keeping on.
Yeah, and if you're in a country like like England, the sunshine might not be a literal thing, but you can reflect on good things. Yeah, I'm not going to moan about the English weather, which is a very, very British thing to do. But I say this flippantly, but ultimately, yeah, like you said, it really is about focusing on what is in your power to do. No matter how small or seemingly insignificant it is, it's amazing the difference that it can make to the way that you feel, your mental health, and your outlook altogether.
Absolutely. I agree. Yeah.
So the next message comes from Rob. And Rob says, Christmas is a time for hope and much more important to those suffering with severe illnesses, including CKD. Keep the faith and don't give up. For a majority, having a transplant might just be around the corner. I was lucky to get my call 3 days before Christmas 2022 and forever grateful. Thank you, Dee, for all the hard work you put in with the podcast. It enables CKD sufferers to understand what CKD is and also give hope. Oh, thank you. There's definitely two parts to that message. The first part, he says that, being grateful that he received his kidney transplant, and for him, 3 days before Christmas. So it was a really nice Christmas present for Rob to get his transplant, and encouraging people to keep the faith. As somebody on the transplant list myself, it is difficult not knowing when you're going to get the call, because I know each country is different, but over here, you just get the call. You don't get any warning. You don't know what point you are in the transplant list, whether you're high or low or whatever. You just get the call one day. So there's a lot of uncertainty. So it can be very difficult to navigate work and whatever you're able to do in your life, because you don't know, am I going to get the call 3:00 in the morning, 12:00 in the afternoon? You really don't know. So it can be difficult to keep the faith, but Rob is saying, keep the faith, don't give up. Your time will definitely come.
Yeah, and it's something that he added towards the end, it enables CKD sufferers to understand what CKD is and also give hope. You know, and I might take a side turn to the perspective, but in a weird, powerful and uplifting way, I feel like having CKD, to me at least, has almost been a gift, because it allowed my eyes to open up to the realities that I would have always taken for granted. Like, before all of this, I didn't know what CKD was. If I can say this, I didn't really care for what CKD was. And that's partly because of my ignorance to it. But then having the diagnosis, going through the surgeries, going through the doctor's appointments, and, handling everything that I needed to do medically, it made me realize that there are people who are fighting a fight that I wasn't ready to step in the shoes into. And with that being said, and I always say this, come to know what it means to be human. And I've come to appreciate life even more. It kind of showed me what the gift is to have life when you're battling a chronic illness. So to that, I say kudos to you, man, and definitely keeping the faith, because that's the only thing that anchors us,
That's a really beautiful perspective. And there's times where I felt the same. There's times where I felt like CKD is the worst thing that's ever happened. And there's times
it's no picnic.
There's times where I feel like so much good has come out of this journey that it's made it worth going through this journey, if that makes any sense. I'm trying to find the right way to express it, but that's the only way I can explain it. It's like so much good has come out of something so terrible that it, like you said, it gives you a new perspective on life. I don't know if I did before, because I've had so many different challenges with my health, but it's very difficult to take life for granted when your life is in question in a certain way. It's like there's so much uncertainty again when it comes to CKD, in terms of how is my health going to be? How is this going to affect me going forward? This, that, and the other. But it just means that for every day, every month, every year that you have, every moment that you have, you're that much more grateful. Because when I was diagnosed back in 2018, I honestly didn't think that I was going to make it out of the hospital. And so to be here in 2025, I'm grateful. I am so grateful. It really is a blessing.
Yeah, we beat a lot of odds to be here, and
absolutely.
For that we could forever be grateful. So for sure. Yeah. Coming up next, we have Sharon, who shares a poem. It says, I think I'd probably defer to one of my favorite poets, my friend Catherine. Shouts out to you, Catherine, and share one of her verses. So here it is. I wish you hope. I wish you joy. I wish you love and pleasure long. But most of all, above all else, I wish you strength to carry on. What a wonderful friend that is. We
Absolutely.
we need that. I think
Mm.
the strength aspect, joy, we can talk about how CKD can affect us mentally all day long because it's a true lived experience. When we talk about radically accepting the new life that we have to live with the diagnosis, there are times where it can get cold and dark. I don't know if it's similar to UK weather, but it can be a very lonely place at times.
Mm.
And just to have a friend who wishes us so much energy, so much oomph to carry on with this battle. It only strengthens us to be the superheroes that people can look at and say, "Wow, you beat the odds again."
I have nothing to add to that. That was a really beautiful take on that. Um, it really was a beautiful take on that, Mo, because like you said, it can be such a hard journey. So when you have these words of encouragement, it really does help.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. And by the way, I just have to say, your dress is just as shiny and beautiful as the sky in the background. Just have to throw that in there.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I definitely
Purpose,
receive that
purposefully
compliment there.
matching, purposefully matching the
Yeah, so
background, but
I was
that
going for like the twinkly star look. I think the light is hitting the sequins on the dress. So
you did it. You got it. You got it.
so our next message comes from Lucy, and Lucy is our transplant nurse, a friend of the podcast, Lucy, and she says, "This Christmas, I'm wishing everyone waiting for a transplant the gift of hope. But we can only have transplantation because of the generosity of donors and their families. Over the festive period, please take a moment with your loved ones to share your donation decision. Having that conversation removes uncertainty at a difficult time and could one day save a life. Wishing you all peace, strength, and a hopeful year ahead."
I, to this day, when I see transplant stories and I see the living donor, I always ask myself, like, what depth does a human being have to go to emotionally to say, I'm going to give something of myself to preserve the life of someone else? To me, I think that type of love is a spiritual technology. Like it's
Yes.
something that we can't even just say, hey, I'm just going to give you something out of just, I have extra. No, to reach into your own body, to endure the surgery, the cuts, the openings, all of the things that go on the table, and to give someone else a chance at life. That is beyond love. I can't even fathom what to call it. I guess, you know, we'll never know. So shout out to everyone who's a living donor. Everybody who's listed to do that, because you're doing so much for people out there.
I always call living donors superheroes because, echoing what you said, I think it takes superhero strength to give, to be a healthy person and to go through surgery and all that's involved, the workup process, all the testing that's involved, the actual surgery, the recovery, to give up so much of yourself and a piece of yourself forever gifted to somebody to save their life. I believe that makes that person a superhero. It really does make that person a superhero. And yeah, I really just want to take the opportunity to honor all superhero living donors right now, because I think you all are amazing. You save lives, you change lives,
10,000%.
and
Mm-hmm.
you're the best. You're the best ever.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. All right. Coming up next, we have listener Vicky, who writes, I give thanks daily to my husband's donors. The first one in 1983 and the second in 2008. Without them, we wouldn't have our children and now our grandchildren. Times on dialysis were hard, but we got through it as a family. At Christmas, we pray and think of his donors and their families. It's a time to celebrate, but also mourn the loss of a life that saved ours. It's a time to remember the families who mourn their loved ones, no longer here, but know deep in their hearts their lives saved through donation is the most treasured gift anyone could possibly receive. Yes, this definitely echoes again with even whether it's a living donor or deceased donor. I think with the deceased donor, definitely a life is no longer here. And for those folks out there who probably have received a organ from a deceased donor, I'm pretty sure there's so much thanks you would love to share with that person. But with that, even in their absence, we do salute them. Shouts out to all the families who had a loved one gone, but you saved the life of someone else.
Yes. I can't imagine how difficult it is to make a decision like that when you're grieving yourself, but you make that selfless decision to save the life of someone else. And, I just want to take the time to thank all the families that chose to make that decision to save a life, to change lives for people all over the world.
Yeah,
You are amazing. And your loved one lives on with that donation. A part of them lives on as well.
absolutely.
And not only that, but as in the case with Vicky, going on to have children and grandchildren, that wouldn't be here if that family hadn't made that decision to allow the donation to go ahead. So we really want to, at this time, salute all the families and say thank you to all the families that agreed to donate their loved ones' organs.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
salute you and we thank you.
big time, big time. All right, coming up next, we have
Trevene.
Trevene.
So Trevene says, as we approach the festive season, I want to take a moment to send you our heartfelt wishes. This time of year is about hope, gratitude, and looking forward to brighter days. And I am honored to be part of your journey. Please remember that your health and well-being remain top priority. Wishing you peace, joy, and good health throughout the season and into the new year. And this is from Trevene, who is a nurse and spoke on the podcast. So, yes, thank you, Trevene.
Yeah, I definitely want to say a big shout out to the nurses, all the
Yes,
transplant nurses, all of our PCP nurses. You guys, you're with us throughout our medical journey. You make a
yes,
solid proponent in our, our health team. You guys work hard, and sometimes I feel
yes,
like a lot of your efforts can be underappreciated. So we just want to take the time to big you up big time because you deserve it. You deserve that and
absolutely.
much more for sure.
I
Oh
think the
yeah,
nurses get it probably the worst because, you know, we as patients, let's face it, we have our ups and downs, and sometimes we might be fed up. We want to get on the machine's not ready. We're not
yeah,
happy about that. And I'm not talking about myself because I'm perfect.
yeah.
Not. Um, but sometimes we get to, and the machine's not ready, and we might be not very happy about that, and have a go at the nurse, and it's not her fault. And the nurses they have to deal with a lot. They have to deal with a lot. All the
Yeah.
running around, connecting people to machines, all the different things that go wrong. We as dialysis patients know the different things that can happen in a session, and it's the nurses that are there, hands on. They're the ones immediately dealing and handling whatever's going on. So nurses,
Mhm.
they deal with the good, the bad, the ugly,
Yeah.
and I want to salute all nurses. You are the guys that are the ones that we cry to, the ones that we have a go at,
Yeah. They're the
the ones
front
that
line.
we're hugging, the ones
Yeah.
that we're pushing away, the ones that we're cursing off. You deal with a lot, and I think it takes a special person, a special level of empathy, patience, and love
Absolutely.
to be a nurse. So, as Mo says, I want to give a very special shout out and thank you and honor to all nurses, not only dialysis nurses, but renal nurses, general nurses,
Yeah.
pediatric nurses, all nurses across the world. We salute you because you are a special type of person. So we love and appreciate you.
Yeah. Yeah. This next message comes from Paul. He is a special message. He's the Kidney Care UK chief executive,
The
i.e.,
boss.
the big boss.
Yes.
And he writes, as we approach the holiday season and a time that can bring real loneliness and emotional challenges for many individuals living with chronic kidney disease or CKD, I want to send a message of gratitude to all those people and families who have the courage and strength to share their stories with others. Stories that do so much to help Kidney Care UK raise awareness of kidney disease, campaign for change in health, and care services and make other people more aware of the support that is out there, either either from the charity or our wider community. These stories and messages reach out to provide advice and guidance and to offer hope and support that patients are not alone, but are part of a wider community that are not victims, but families like them fighting to live their lives to the full every day. At this time of the year, I and the charity want to say a huge thank you to each and every one of them and to offer our hope and best wishes for the new year. Wow, that message was so well measured and concise, especially in a time where people feel so lonely and emotional at this time. It's the holidays. Everyone wants to feel surrounded by loved ones, and a lot of times that's not the case. But just to know that in this fight, you're not alone, and that there's a community that you can always reach out to find the help that you need to get advice, encouragement, kind of like what we're doing out here. It feels good. It feels reassuring. And it just keeps us going. That drive that we talked about, it keeps us going to know that, we can always find somebody to lean on. So big ups to you, Paul, big boss. Big ups to you. and thank you for sharing that. And it doesn't, and what's so beautiful about it, it doesn't matter where you're from. You could be at different parts of the globe. You can find messages and encouragement from anybody fighting this fight of CKD and still feel the love and encouragement. So yeah, beautiful message right there.
Absolutely. I'm honored to have the opportunity to be able to interview so many amazing kidney warriors to share their lived experience of CKD on this podcast, but also Kidney Care UK's Kidney Matters magazine. Also, there's stories shared in there where people, and also on the website where people are sharing their experiences also. And I think, as I say every episode that I do a Kidney Warrior story, it's so powerful to learn from someone's lived experience of CKD. And so when you're going through something, knowing that somebody else knows what it's like to go through what you're going, makes such a difference, because it can feel so lonely. So I really think one of the most powerful things that we can do in our situation is to share our experience to help others so they can learn what we've been through. Yeah, the work that Kidney Care UK do, they are amazing. They are the UK's leading kidney patient support charity, and they do so much through counselling, through the grants, through the different things that they do as a charity to support kidney patients. So yeah, amazing charity, amazing work that they do. And
Awesome.
love to you all, love to them all. Okay. And the next message comes from Megan. And Megan says, as we celebrate Christmas, I want to send love and strength to all my fellow kidney patients and listeners and wish you a joyful Christmas. This season is a reminder of resilience, hope, and the power of community. May you find joy in the small moments, peace in the challenges, and courage for the year ahead. Wishing you all a Merry Christmas and a hopeful New Year. That's really nice. I really love that.
Oh yeah, especially that part about courage for the new year.
Yes.
Sometimes we can't see what's coming up ahead, and that's the turbulent feeling of living with chronic illness. You never know what's the next road or bend going to look like. So definitely courage for the new year, man. Nothing else to really add there.
Me either. I think that's a really nice way to pause on this message. So thank you, Megan.
Yeah. All right. Next, we have listener Fiona. Fiona writes, just before Christmas is the anniversary of my kidney transplant. Wow. Kudos to you. So for me, it's always a special time to think about what it means to have had the privilege of living with a donated kidney since 2006. And for us, my husband and I, the power of living donation. We usually celebrate very simply with a nice meal and take a moment to appreciate what we have been able to do over the past years. We also always talk to our children to remember and think about it together. I hope our story will encourage others to keep hopeful. It certainly powers me on for my work too. Oh man, it's since 2006. Oh my gosh, that's that's like a solid 19
nearly 20 years. God.
Oh, kudos, man. And, and that's the beauty of it. We have so many different things online that say, kidneys donated, it probably will last only this, but you never know. Your kidneys can
Yes.
carry you through the whole rest of your life to the point where you have children now. So I just love how the donation affords the ability to continue a legacy. Um,
Yes.
so super happy for you, Fiona. Continue with the work that you're doing too. Yeah.
Yes. I mean, when you think about it, like you said, people can be like worrying about how long that the kidney will last for, but it's stories like Fiona's that I hold on to, like seeing that since 2006, she received this transplant and it's still going, still giving her that quality of life,
Yeah.
still, giving her the freedom from dialysis and all the different challenges that come with that. It gives me hope and encouragement to know that, yes, when I get my kidney, it's going to be with me for life and it's going to, open up new opportunities and doors for me. So yeah, I'm holding on knowing that it worked for Fiona, so it's going to work for me too. That's
It better work.
yes. I'm holding on to that.
Mhm.
Okay, so who have we got next then, Mo?
All right, we got Lori up next. Lori, I'll go ahead and tackle this one for sure. Lori writes, "From all of us here at Kidney Care UK, we wanted you to know that we are here for you whenever and however you need us. We are constantly amazed by our kidney community's resilience and strength. So we wish you a restful, festive period and a happy new year." Yeah, happy new year to you too, Lori. Yeah, we definitely try our best. It's never the easiest. Again, we have our moments
Mm-hmm.
when we're being mean to the nurses. you know,
I'm
you know,
never mean to
I
nurses.
don't know.
I'm just putting that out there. I've
Uh,
just seen it. I've
you
seen
kind
it.
of you kind of
I've seen it.
self-incriminated.
That's why I talked about it. I've witnessed it.
The
Not done it.
self-incrimination was strong, but
No, no,
but
no. Mm-mm. Mm.
however, though, yeah, again, and here's the big takeaway from this. Um, a lot of folks with CKD don't realize the impact that they're having on the onlookers. Like
True.
you might think that you're doing the bare minimum, but boy, people are watching you, and the strength that you exhibit shows people like there's so much more to live for. So like keep the fight going.
Mm,
All of us CKD warriors, keep the fight going, man. You're doing a lot for those who are not aware. Keep bringing awareness.
absolutely. The next message comes from Julie, and Julie says, "I'm so very grateful for all the love in my life. I'm fortunate to have my family and friends. I'm also grateful for the love and friendship I have found through my CKD. It has brought me to wonderful new people, including you. Wishing all my kidney warrior sisters and brothers a peaceful, joyous, and healthy Christmas and a bright new year. Loads of love to you." That was really nice. Not only because she spoke to me personally, but also we spoke about gratitude on episode 149 of the podcast with renal counselors Sarah and Paula. And we really reflected on the difference that gratitude can make to your life, your outlook, your mental health, how you see things, your perspective, finding something to be grateful for in the midst of the chaos and the challenges and all the rest of it can make such a difference to how you navigate the situation. And I'm not saying that in of itself, it fixes the situation, but it definitely helps you cope with it better, if that makes sense. And
Absolutely.
so seeing her gratitude for the love in her life, like having friends, having family, having people around you that love and care for you is it's a beautiful thing. And I sincerely mean it when I say that it was a beautiful thing to be surrounded by love and to see that she has this, I celebrate with her and also thank you for the encouragement to me personally. It really does help me continue to do the work that I do. So I really appreciate that note for me personally, but also I celebrate with you that you have this love and this friendship. And she also touched on the fact that she's met wonderful people through having CKD. And that's
Yeah.
something that I reflect on quite a lot, actually, because I think there's so many people that if I didn't have CKD, I wouldn't have met, including yourself, Mo. I wouldn't have met you. I mean, you're in America. What are the odds that we would have met each other had we
Yeah.
not had this shared experience of CKD? And so in my life, like what Julie said, there's so many amazing and wonderful people that I've met through this experience, and this journey. So yes, I'm grateful and I celebrate with you, Julie. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. Just a quick tidbit, man. I think at the start of my journey, I think the biggest thing was wanting to find that community because I felt like I was the only one in my circle that had to walk this walk, and nobody was there to do it with me because they didn't understand. They didn't understand the fears. They didn't understand the trauma. And so as I branched out, and it took a lot of boldness to do that too. It wasn't just, I'm going to just get plugged into a club. It had to, me being vulnerable was a huge one. It forced me to do that. And through having the courage to be vulnerable, I met people like you, D. I've met so many other folks in my community now that I can say these are my kidney brothers and sisters. And so that energy that I get, I don't know who I would be if I didn't have these people to kind of speak into my life and encourage me because they're further along in the challenge as well. And they kind of give me a heads up sometimes, while all walks are different and don't look the same, but they can tell me what to expect and how to be encouraged. So shouts out to all of our friends, brothers, sisters in the kidney community.
I echo that. So who have we got next, Mo?
All right, we got Lois. Lois writes, 3 years ago, my function had dropped to EGFR of 3. That is intense. My friend Josh was giving me one of his kidneys to change my life. We'd been approved for transplant just before Christmas. Then on the 30th of December, 2022, we had a call to confirm the date for 2 weeks later. All the hope and trust I had became real, and everything changed on the 17th of January, 2023. Josh and his wife, Erica, along with their lovely family, will always be so precious to Craig, her husband, and me. Well, my husband and me. A couple of nights before our transplant, we had a call together, and Craig said to Josh, Lois may have your kidney, but you will always have my heart. Christmas is so special as we create new happy memories because of the gift Josh has given. Kidney journeys are tough, I know, but find your place and people to help you be as strong as you can be. Wow, what phenomenal friends to have in your life, and it may not necessarily be to give up of an organ, but just to give time, to give energy, encouragement, to give of themselves just to be around to make sure that you continue to be strong as you can be. I think these are the type of friends that we always need to surround ourselves by, especially during the holiday season. Those are the long lasting friends that, we can always lean on. I'm glad that you had that kind of friendship and connection in your life during that time when your GFR took the nosedive.
Absolutely. I think sometimes friends can become more than friends. They can become family. And
Oh, yeah.
definitely in this example, Josh became family to her.
Yeah.
And it is, again, wonderful to see that love, to see being so selfless, to give that gift, that part of yourself, to allow somebody to live.
Yeah.
Is a very, very, very powerful thing. And again, I take this time to salute all living donors. And just it really does encourage me to see that there are people out there who are willing to do this for a loved one, or even for somebody they don't even know. So
gosh.
I just want to give another shout out to Lois. And our final message comes from Adrian. And Adrian says, I'm a donor, not a warrior, but started listening to better understand what my daughter could be facing. I found the guests inspiring and informative in equal measures. Keep up the good work and keep the faith. I think that's a really good message sent in from a listener of the podcast to end on, because it acknowledges everybody that has contributed to Diary of a Kidney Warrior podcast, and also the listeners as well, because some of the topics that we've discussed on the podcast were sent in by the listeners. These were suggestions that people wanted to know more information about. So in many ways, the listener-led episodes where people have sent in their questions like this one, the listeners have contributed, as well as the guests who have actually come, like yourself, that have come on the podcast and shared their story and shared their expertise, all of the health professionals. So, yeah, I really want to take this time to big up, as you would say, Mo, and acknowledge and thank all of the listeners, all of the kidney warriors, all of the health professionals who have shared on this podcast, because your voice, your story, your expertise are helping people around the world, whether it's kidney patients, kidney warriors, their families, their friends, their care partners, even renal staff or other medical staff who want to learn more about CKD that are listening to the podcast as well. So, I just want to take the time to thank you all so very much.
Yeah, I double down on that as well. Thank you for everything you guys are doing and just learning from us. All the listeners, the donors, the caregivers, like you said, thank you for giving us that energy so that we can keep going.
Right. So normally when I interview someone, I will always say, what's your final word of encouragement? So with this being a podcast of hope, gratitude, and encouragement, I'm going to ask you, Mo, what is your word of hope or gratitude or encouragement that you would like to share with the listeners and the watchers of the podcast today?
This can be tough. It's not easy. No one ever told us what would come with this. But I think the more you wake up and have the courage to face the day, you have a reason to smile. So keep going, keep striving. There's so much to live for. Again, this is not the end. Just know that as you navigate this, you do it with so much grace, and nobody could take that from you.
Thank you so much, Mo, for sharing that wonderful word of encouragement for the listeners. And thank you so much for joining me today, being a co-host extraordinaire on this bonus Christmas Day episode of Diary of a Kidney Warrior podcast. I want to say a huge thank you to all the listeners who sent in their messages of encouragement, hope, and gratitude. And also the listeners who were with me episode in, episode out, supporting, commenting, sending in your messages in between. Sometimes people send their messages of encouragement in between, which really helps keep me going. So I want to thank you for your encouragement, for the encouragement that you sent in this episode and beyond. And also, I want to give a special thank you to Kidney Care UK, the staff at Kidney Care UK, who make this podcast possible with their support. And, they've been amazing in this partnership that we started together. I want to give a shout out to Paul, to Laurie, to Sharon, to Rosie, to Sophie, Stefan, Deb, Phoebe, and Claire. Thank you so much for all that you do for the podcast, but also for all the kidney patients out there. Thank you so much for all that you do. And finally, to the listeners of the podcast, to the people watching today, I just want to encourage you to keep going. Never let go of hope. Keep holding on. It will get better. Keep holding on. Don't let go of hope. Always keep hoping. The light will come out of the darkness. It may start tiny and small, but one day you will step into the sunlight and you will see the sun shining, and it will be a better, brighter day. So thank you so much for joining us. Happy Christmas.
Happy Christmas, guys.
Diary of a Kidney Warrior podcast in partnership with Kidney Care UK, sharing faith, knowledge, hope, and love.